Hello again, my little conscripts, and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In this episode, we shall be diving into another Imperial Guard 10th edition datasheet. And today's legendary unit is going to be the Korp of Krieg Grenadier Squad. Similar to the Kazakin of Cadia, the Grenadiers are the elite of the Korp of Krieg. I'm not going to lie to you. I think these guys are incredibly cool and also pretty powerful. And if they weren't in Legends, I reckon you would see them as one of the most common infantry choices in the Guard, both in the casual scene and in the competitive scene. They're actually pretty good. And so without further ado, let's fix bayonets and charge right into this thing.
Attention Guardsmen, the Commissariat has detected you have not yet liked this video. Do so immediately or else you will face the Emperor's wrath. And anyone who has not yet subscribed to the channel will be transferred to the penal battalions. That is all. Move out!
As is tradition, let's begin with a cheeky gander at the stat line. Each Grenadier has got a pretty typical Elite Guard infantry stat line. We've got a movement of 6, toughness 3, 4+ save, 1 wound, leadership 7+, and objective control of 1. The only real difference between a regular Guardsman and an Elite Guardsman is the fact that the OC goes down by 1, but the save gets better by 1. And overall, this stat line is perfectly fine. It gets the job done. Movement of 6, when we combine that with something like move, means we can get up to a movement of 9 inches, considering that the basic ballistic skill of the Korp of Krieg Grenadiers is, and we are getting ahead of ourselves here a little bit, that's okay, is 3+. Orders like move and move are eminently more attractive on them because you can run around pretty quickly without needing to give up hitting on a 3+. Of course, you can tell them to take aim, which means they will start hitting on a 2+, making them very powerful. One of the mistakes that a lot of newer players make when they see a stat line like this and they see that 4+ save is they think that Elite Guard infantry, Grenadiers, Kazakin, all that kind of stuff, they're much tougher than your average Guardsman. And the reality is that's not true even slightly. This is Warhammer 40k, this is 10th edition, and this game is hyper lethal. Your 4+ save is going to make about as much difference as a fight in the wind as a regular Guardsman having a 5+ save. It really doesn't mean all that much. So when you're thinking about these Korp of Krieg Grenadiers, don't worry too much about their defensive stat line. You want to think about how you can get them moving around quicker or how you can get them hitting harder. They're elite infantry. Their job is to go in there, smash the entire area, and then probably die on the counterpunch. But the thing that they took out first is more valuable than themselves. So with that in mind, why don't we take a look at the weapons and war gear and see how these guys are punching up. Interestingly, your Korp of Krieg Grenadier squad has 2 unit compositions. This actually puts them at odds with things like the Kazakin. You can have 1 Grenadier Sergeant and 9 Grenadiers, or you can have 1 Grenadier Sergeant, 7 Grenadiers, and 1 heavy weapons team. That's right, your Grenadiers actually get a heavy weapon team inside the squad. If you're used to just looking at codex units, this is kind of going to be a bit mind-blowing. Like, it's kind of cool, right? However, it's important to note that the heavy weapon team in the Grenadier squad is different to the normal Krieg heavy weapon teams that you get in the Krieg heavy weapon squad. This one only has one option, and it is a standard heavy flamer. Now, if you were looking to convert some of these guys up, I don't think there'd be any problem from just a modeling point of view of taking one of the new Krieg heavy weapon squad guys with the big heavy flamers and putting them in this unit. But it is important to note that the flamer stats in the heavy weapons squad are different to the heavy flamer stats of the Grenadier squad, which we'll get to in a moment. But it's just a good way of representing it, but you would have to make sure you were using the right weapon stats. The Grenadier Sergeant comes equipped with a Sergeant's pistol and Sergeant's close combat weapon, which is kind of cool. We're going to have to take a look at that. It's not a normal pistol, apparently. And then we've also got every Grenadier model is equipped with a hotshot lasgun and a close combat weapon. As for weapon options, up to 2 Grenadier models can each have their hotshot lasgun replaced with one of the following: flamer, grenade launcher, heavy stubber, melter gun, plasma gun, sniper rifle. There are a lot of weapon choices here, and pretty much all of them are standard issue in the Guard. So if you've seen a flamer before, it does the same thing here. If you're not sure which weapons to go for, whether you should take a mix or stick with two of the same, here is my personal recommendation. I would always go for either double plasma gun or double melter gun. If you wanted to be a bit spicy, you could go for double flamer, because then you'd have two flamers here and a heavy flamer there. But I feel that is much more of a thematic and fluffy choice than necessarily the best choice. Plasma guns and melter guns, if we scroll up here for a moment, you'll see have good strength, they've got good AP, they've got good damage. I always prefer plasma guns because I like the extra bit of range, but honestly, it will come down to preference. Do you prefer the slightly shorter range, slightly more powerful melter gun, or do you want the slightly more flexible plasma gun? I'm a plasma guy all the way. I think flexibility is very important, but melter gun is a solid second choice. Oh, and if you're curious what that Sergeant's pistol and Sergeant's close combat weapon thing was all about, turns out it's just a hotshot las pistol and a power sword. So I'm not sure why Games Workshop chose to muddy the waters and confuse things, but there we go. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Mordian, why would I take Death Korps of Krieg Grenadiers? They are basically like Kazakin, which get a couple less special weapons. Because my Kazakin can take 2 plasma and 2 melter, whereas these guys have to pick essentially between that. Look, I'm not going to deny that Kazakin are a fantastic unit, but what I would say is that Death Korps Grenadiers bring a few other different bits to the table, and a big part of that comes down to their ability and also their Grenadier squad special rule, and this makes them particularly interesting. So firstly, if we look at the Grenadiers ability, it actually is the exact same that you would find on the Death Korps Engineers. It allows you to use the grenade stratagem for 0 CP. This is a very nice ability, and I don't know anyone who doesn't think this is pretty solid. However, I would go a step further and say this is much more valuable on a Death Korps Grenadier squad than it is on an Engineer squad. Engineers only really have one role. You take them as cheap as possible, and then they go forward and they try and do as many mortal wounds. But they're kind of relying not only on the Grenadiers, but also that remote mine to go off and do the mortal wounds. And the problem is that the remote mine is just eminently unreliable. It just might not go off. But with your Grenadiers, you can do the grenades for free, which is fantastic. And then you actually have special weapons which have punch to back up those grenades. You've got double plasma or double melter gun, and you've got a heavy flamer as well. And all the regular guys are going to be shooting with AP -1 hotshot las guns too. If you are taking these guys inside of a combined arms platoon, it's important, detachment I should say, it's important to recognize that there's also lots of lethal hits that could be flying around. In my mind, this makes the Death Korps Grenadiers a halfway house between Engineers and Kazakin. You kind of get the best of both worlds. You get the free grenades of the Engineers and you get the special weapons of the Kazakin. And this idea of them being special weapon engineer guys is kind of reinforced by the Grenadier squad rule, which states that if a leader can join Krieg combat engineers, it can join Grenadiers instead. And this basically means that the Krieg command squad from the Codex can actually join your Grenadier unit. Krieg combat engineers, leader. You can see it all there. Now this really starts getting things a bit spicy because the Krieg command squad brings a lot to the table that the Grenadiers would be interested in. Starting from top to bottom with what the command squad can do for the Grenadiers, first up, we're getting an extra pip of leadership thanks to the Lord Commissar. This could be good for making sure that we pass orders. Speaking of which, we can actually issue orders from the Krieg command squad to the Grenadiers that we are now leading, which is fantastic. Thirdly, we also have got grim determination, which means that even if things go horribly wrong and we fail our battle shock and all that kind of stuff, we can actually still have our orders and we do not worry about becoming battle shock. So we're just basically getting orders no matter what. We also are going to have the regimental standard. So suddenly our objective control of 1 is objective control of 2. This is something that Kazakin can't do unless they're willing to order themselves to have duty and honor. So this gives us a bit of a unique bonus over the Kazakin and starts allowing our Grenadiers to not just be elite damage dealers which go in there and die, but also allows us to be primary game doers as well. In fact, you can get your Grenadiers up to objective control 3 on objectives between duty and honor and the regimental standard, because Kazakin can't have a command squad join them, but Grenadiers can. So it's quite a nice bit of play there. Makes them very, very flexible. But it's not just all of these soft buffs, these secondary buffs that we can get onto the Grenadiers. It's also the fact that the command squad comes with a buttload of special weapons. We're going to have an extra plasma gun, so that puts us up to 3. And we're going to have 2 plasma pistols as well, which is going to give us an extra couple of nice shots. And then we've also got a power fist on the Lord Commissar. And we've also got a power weapon that comes on one of the veteran guardsmen. And don't forget, if you are in a siege detachment, you can use legacy sidearm to mean that this plasma pistol here ends up firing loads of shots. So we can actually make our Grenadiers a very, very multi-role flexible unit. It will cost a pretty penny. We're looking at 175 points in total. About the same, well, actually cheaper than a platoon of Kriegers. Cheaper than a platoon of Kriegers led by a Krieg command squad. Just bear that in mind, significantly cheaper. But we're going to be able to have plenty of objective control. We're going to have plenty of firepower. And we're also going to be able to do free grenades as well. There's just a lot that starts to fall into place when we start adding the Krieg command squad to the Krieg Grenadiers. Oh, and one other cool thing that the Death Corps Grenadier squad has over Kazakin is that they have the platoon keyword, which is actually kind of cool because that unlocks a few small yet mighty abilities, especially in things like the recon detachment, because now you can start using things like draw them out. All right, so let's pull all of this together. What do we think of the Grenadiers? I think that at 110 points, they are expensive, but they are still cheaper by 35 points than taking a big blob of 20 Death Corps of Krieg. They actually feel like a legitimate alternative to Krieg line infantry. You could take 3 squads of these and have 3 command squads join them and have a very nice elite infantry force. And also, you don't have to pick between Grenadiers and Kazakin. You could actually run them side by side and have 3 squads of Kazakin and 3 squads of Grenadiers and enough orders going around to support all of them, because the Kazakin can order themselves, the command squads can order the Grenadiers, and then you've even got the once per game extra order that you could put onto the Kazakin as well via the Master Vox of the Krieg command squad. I think that they can do this line infantry role very well because they have access to lots of OC via the command squad, and they can still keep up in terms of being able to do elite infantry duties with the amount of damage thanks to the free grenades and also the special weapons, the combination special weapons from the squad itself and the command squad. I'm not necessarily saying these guys are absolutely S tier, that they're going to be up there, and if they were taken from Legends and put into the main codex that everyone be running them. But what I would say is that they're a solid choice, and you could put these in your list and you wouldn't be tying one hand behind your back. You could put them in with confidence, knowing that you were running a cool unit that also is able to pull its weight. They are the perfect halfway between a specialized elite unit and a more generic line infantry unit. And that, I think, is a very valuable niche that they bring to the table. Of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Are you a fan of the Grenadier squads? Would you run them in casual games? And do you wish that GW brought them back into the codex, into match play? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to go ahead and smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Redfield, 32, Jurgens, Miasma, Try Again, Bragg, RJ, Scorpion, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Nicholas Walsh, John Stubbs, Guardian, Varney, Sword, Fish Trombone, Picklock the Forged. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.